Hello my fellow aliens, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jojo Rarity. Today's video I'm gonna be talking about some of my favorite YA books that were adapted into a movie. And if you notice, I'm already 27 years old. I think I already mentioned that before. But I still love to read young adults books because those are my favorite. In the Philippines, it's the first time I read a book in English and it was Twilight. And that's why I kind of love YA, I think, because Twilight was the first book I read in English. And at the time, I didn't even know English that well. I was still learning. So I think if you're new to my channel, you can really improve your English by reading books. Or also of course, watching movies in English. With subtitles maybe if you can't understand some words. But it's a funny thing about it. Because before when I read Twilight, I couldn't understand everything. I was always looking up. But now, if I reread it, I think I would understand everything. So I'm gonna be talking about 12 books. So the first book on my list is really a YA book, but I really want to mention it because I was reading when I was a child. I also remember this is Lemony Snicket, A Series of Fortunate Events. And the author is Dan Handler, got 17 books in total, but I only read 4 of them. And I want to mention it because the first book that was turned into a movie that I know. And I don't know how old I was when I was reading it. I probably so young. So then when I watched the movie, kind of seemed familiar. I think maybe my sister told me that you remember the books that we read as a kid, because I was 6 or 7 years old when I read the book, so I don't remember it completely. But then I watched the movie, it seemed so familiar, and the story kinda. And then there also the series on Netflix. So then I also watched it, and the book was kinda so weird because they put 3 stories in one movie or something, from the 3 books. So when I read the book, I was really young, so I don't remember some of it. But some stories kind of seem familiar, that's what I want to say. A story about 3 Baudelaire kids, and the names are Sunny, Klaus, and Violet. And they go through some tragic circumstances happening in the book. And then there's a narrator called Lemony Snicket who's telling the story through his eyes, kinda, who follows them through an organization. The next book on my list is called The Ready Player One. It's kind of a new one, but when I heard there's gonna be a movie about it, I really wanted to read it first. And of course the book is better because honestly the books are always better in the movie. It's not I hate the movies, but it's always so different. In the books you can always understand the story more kinda. In the movie they never do the same story, and maybe it's because the book is kinda old. So there was a movie scene, they kinda had to change it to a modern story so people can relate more, I think. So I can't understand why they did that. So I think in the book, it's from Atari console, the really old game console. And so that's why I had to kind of change it around. I get why Steven Spielberg did that because I think if this movie was in the 80s something, then I understand. But it's the future. Because this book is set in dystopian future, 2045. So the games kind of modern games, my cousin plays Fortnite or Overwatch or whatever these kids nowadays play, and that's why they had to do it like that. So that's why I like the story, because in the virtual world, you choose your avatar and you can be whoever you want to be, and you go inside them. So people just want to be always there because you can always be someone you're not. So this was a cool story. I find it so intriguing, and it follows this kid named Wade Watts, who's a protagonist in the story, and he's looking for an Easter egg inside the world because the creator did some kind of challenge. They need to complete it, and he needs to find it, and the winner gets the fortune of the game creators because he died. Something like that. So such a cool story. So number 10 on my list is a normal story. It's not fantasy or something, it's not dystopian world. It's just a normal teenage book, and it's called To All the Boys I Loved Before. It's a trilogy. The author is Jenny Han, and I read all of the books, and I think the reason why I want to read it is because the main characters half Asian like me, and we don't get to see it a lot, half Asian families, and that's why I really want to read it because I can relate so much to it. And also when the found out it's on Netflix. It's my favorite Netflix movie, by the way. Even though I'm not a teenager anymore, I can still relate to it. And that's why it's my number 10 also, if you're kind of into this kind of stories. Because I also read normal stories sometimes, from John Green or something. And this is just an easy read because the story is just a normal high school story. It says about this girl, her name is Lara Jean, and she's kind of an introvert. And then she writes letters to the boys she loved before, but she can't tell them in the face that she likes them because she's so shy, and she never even sends the letters. But then her little sister did that. So the stories kind of came a love triangle kind of on some sort. So I never finished the last movie, by the way, because my sister's reading the last book. Even though I'm not a teenager anymore, I feel like her awkwardness and everything I can relate so much, and the story is just overall so cute. The next book is The Giver by Louise Lowry, and it has like 4 books. I only read the first one. I didn't know, like, the ending was so weird, so I thought like, what, this is it? But I didn't know there are like more books to it. And I watched the movie because I want to read first, then to watch it. I can't remember, it's been like such a long time, but so the book, it's really good. I like dystopian stories. It's been a long time since I watched the movie, but already the difference is that the main character is not 12. He's like a teenager. But anyway, about the story, it's about the society is free of crime and sadness. So when you reach the age of 12, everyone is assigned to do their job, and they need to do this for the rest of their lives. They can't choose what they want to be. They can't show sadness. They can't show love. They can't show emotion, something like that. Like, even the parents are also looking for your partner. So of course this kid then wants to change everything because he don't want to have a job that he doesn't like. So it's kind of rebelling for it. And I think the reason why this movie kind of failed was because at the time there were so many YA movies out there, like The Hunger Games, Divergent, and everyone wanted a piece of YA, and this movie kind of failed because I feel like it's really different from the book. I don't remember, but I feel like some of it are really different how they do that, and it's always like that. I think sometimes even for me, if you didn't read the book and watch the movie, I feel like you can really understand it more. Like, you understand it more if you read the book actually. Number 8 is such a popular books because it's Harry Potter, and it's not my favorite franchise, by the way, but I read some of the books. I think the first book I read was The Half-Blood Prince, which was kind of new. I think I bought it at some point. Maybe I read some other books, I don't remember. That's why it's on this list, because I read some books. But as I said, I'm not really a fan of Harry Potter, and it kind of burned out for me. I don't know, like the first 4 movies were kind of good, but later on, I kind of didn't care about it anymore. And I'm like more of a Twilight fan. Like, I know Twilight gets so much hated, and maybe that's why I like it, because like I always like what people don't like, and Harry Potter I feel like it's too overrated sometimes. Like, even till now, Harry Potter always like people's favorite books, movies, but for me it's like, meh, it's like, it kind of like died for me, this franchise. I don't know why, but it's like that. And by the way, the author is called Joanne K. Rowling. I also remember it because my name is Joanne, and she has like 7 books, 8 movies. I watched it all. I think everyone knows the story, right? It's about this wizard called Harry Potter. He goes to a boarding school called Hogwarts where other wizards live, and then he meets there some friends, he meets some love there, and then his arch enemy called Voldemort, and you can't say his name. He's like in every book till the end. It's like kind of he can't even defeat just a kid in one book. It has to be all the books. I'm sorry, but it's like such an unpopular opinion, but I really don't care about the franchise that much, about the villain or anything. So I only love the first movies, but then that's it. Number 7 is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and I really want to read this book because I saw it on Tumblr one time, and then I thought like, why are people reading this? And then I decided to check it out, and John Green is like a new popular author who does books like Nicholas Sparks but with young adults. So no wonder I like this author. I read some of the books. I think I'm looking for Alaska, and that's about it. And then this one, I think. Such a sad story. I read it first, and then suddenly after years, I don't know when the movie came out and also when the book came out, but suddenly they wanted to do a movie about it. I was like, oh my god, what? Because suddenly if I read a book, suddenly they make a movie about it. It's like With All the Right Places. It's also a book I just decided to buy because I liked the story, and then suddenly they made a movie about it. My friend posted about it. I was like, what? I never watched the movie, by the way. And yeah, so this is such a sad story, and I really cried so much in the book, and it's like so similar from the movie. I think it's really good, the movie, because it's so much like the book, I think. And the soundtrack, and oh my god, such a heartbreaking story, because it's about these 2 kids that are called Hazen and Augustus, and they're both kind of sick, and Hazen is diagnosed with cancer. Of course, what you expect if someone has cancer, it's not gonna be a happy ending. So don't read it if you don't like sad stories, because this one is really, really, really sad. Number 6 on my list is Twilight. Love it or hate it. And I know the movies are such controversial, but I really love it. And also, when I saw the trailer, that's the reason I want to read the books, because I saw Robert Pattinson is in this movie, and I loved him in Harry Potter. He played Cedric, and Cedric was one of my favorite characters. And decided I want to check this story out. And also the first book that I read in English. My mom told me don't buy it because you don't know English that much, but I really wanted to try it, and at first it was so hard, I couldn't understand some of it. But yeah, because of Twilight, I have this love of YA books, and suddenly I love reading so much. Like I can only read English books now. I can't read German anymore, and yeah, so it's gonna be like a special place in my heart. Even though I don't really watch it anymore, like the movies, when I got older, only as a kid. And I was like 14 years old when it came out. No wonder I was into this kind of story, because I'm still a girl, and a teenage girl wasn't into vampires at the time. I mean, as 14-year-old teenage girl, kind of suddenly want to have a vampire boyfriend or something like that. It's kind of like so funny now if you think about it. But yeah, I was so obsessed with the movies because I love Robert Pattinson so much. I love Edward Cullen. And then I didn't know that YA tropes are kind of like the triangle thing. Not all the books, of course, but most of them. And suddenly I was kind of thinking for me, suddenly I like this kind of stories. And because of Twilight, I read so many stories, like trilogies that I fall in love with. Because of Twilight, that's why it's kind of like a special place in my heart, because without Twilight, I wouldn't be into YA, I think. And that's a good thing. And also the movies are so good, I think no one really complained about it. Like comparing to the books. I think Twilight was so popular because everyone loved it. I mean, it got so much hate, of course, and maybe that's why it's popular. Sometimes if it's too much hated, then it's also kind of popular. By the way, the author is called Stephanie Meyer, and she has like 5 books in total. I only read the 4 because Midnight Sun is kind of new, so I'm not really into it anymore, I think. I don't think I will read it, because now when I'm this age, I'm not really into vampire stories anymore. I think I kind of grew out of it. It's kind of normal for my age. Number 5 on my list is called The Host, also from Stephanie Meyer. And to be honest, the first time I liked the movie better than the book, because the book was so complicated. I couldn't understand most of it. It's kind of so hard, I think, to put it in a movie. That's why I understand why they didn't do that. So in the movie, they didn't explore so much about the alien parasite. Maybe it's a good thing. It's kind of so hard to put in the movie, I think. But I love the movie so much, maybe because of the casting, and it's also, of course, a triangle, what you expect from Stephanie Meyer. And the thing is, I love both of them. It was so hard, like seeing one of them get hurt. And I think the casting was so good because I love the actors, did such a good job. They're exactly like how I imagined them to be. And yeah, so it's kind of an underrated one. I heard there's 2 sequels, like The Seek and The Soul. Is a thing, or she didn't complete it yet, I don't know. And anyway, it's about a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and then it's about these souls who are like alien parasites, and they have to inhabit a body to live. So of course the main character named Melanie, she kind of rebels for it. Even though she's inside, the soul's inside her body, she still kind of can hear her inside of her body, and she's trying to kind of talk to her. And I know it's so complicated if I explain it. So I think read the book because it's so worth it. It's so good, and you kind of explore more about this world than in the movie. Our former list is The Maze Runner. So the story is about Thomas, who wakes up in an elevator, and he doesn't know how he got there and doesn't know what's going to happen next. And there are only like teenage boys in there, and they are called the Gladers. And then there's like a maze, and he wants to be a maze runner because he's good in running or something, and he wants to find a way out of there because none of the boys try to find out the way out of there. Of course, Thomas gonna find a way out of there and want to know what's going on and why he's put in there in the first place. Number 3 on my list is Divergent. So Divergent, I like the books better. That's why Hunger Games like higher on this list, is because I like the movies better, but in Divergent I like the books better because I was so disappointed in movies. I think only the first movie was kind of similar, but later on, Insurgent, maybe the last 2 movies, I think one movie they cancelled, and maybe that's the reason it got cancelled, because we didn't get the last movie. And it's so weird for people who just watch the movies and don't read the books. They don't know how it ends because they just stop it, because people hate it so much. It changed everything. Like I was screaming at my TV when the first time I saw it, like, oh my god, what's going on? Why is it so different? What the fuck is happening? And it's just so sad because we like the characters, Triss and Tobias, also called Four. He's such a good character, and I love the world in it. I love the factions, like different factions like Abnegation, Dauntless, and so on. And it was like so cool to see like how they do it also, like with the clothes they wore, because like if you read it, like it's like so cool to imagine how it actually looks like, because everyone dresses differently, like depends what faction they are. And like just the world, like Veronica Roth is such a good author. Her imagination, how everything gonna look like, it's so amazing. And also, it's the first time I actually read all the books and I didn't know there's gonna be a movie. And just suddenly just announced like years later. I was so excited because like first time one of my favorite books gonna be turned to a movie. It was such a disappointment because like the first part was so good, later on kind of let me down. It's just sad when this happens, right? Like one of my favorite books and suddenly they make such a worse movie about it, which is so sad. But I still have the books. If I miss it, I'm still gonna read it and watch it. So number 2 on my list is The Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. It has 3 books, and also the reason why I wanted to read this was because Twilight was such a thing back then. I saw some trailer, I saw some GIF, and then I decided to check it out, and I really fell in love with the story. It was so cool, and also the plus thing is Josh Hutcherson is in this movie, and he's my favorite actor. No wonder I want to kind of know the story more. I want to read all the books before I watch this movie. And there are like 12 districts, and I think that it was every year, I don't remember, but they select a boy and a girl from every district to fight for their lives, to get that privileges if they win. And in this world, poor people are kind of starving, and it's like they watch it on television, like the rich people just watch this for their fun. So they need to kill to survive, and only one remains a winner for the district. And yeah, even the storyline is already so cool. Like, so they're in this arena and they need to fight. And first time I'm reading it, it's like, how it's gonna end? Because I know it's gonna be 2 more movies, so how, and 2 more books. So how it's gonna end? I really thought. But yeah, the storyline is so cool and amazing. If you didn't know it, go check it out. So, what can you guess what number 1 is? It's The Mortal Instruments, my favorite franchise. I love the books so much. There are like 6 in total, by Cassandra Clare. And also there's a movie, just one movie, which is so sad. But I read the book first, and then because of my friend, he kind of told me about this book, and so I read it and I really liked it. At that time there was only one book, and then later on they announced there's gonna be a movie. I remembered, oh my god, I hated the ending so much because I needed to wait for the other books to come out. But it's one of my favorite ever, and the movie was so good, even though it's so different. I think people also kind of hated it, and some people love it. Like, it's so weird because Mortal Instruments have such a big fan base. Actually, I know there's so many fans who are always supporting this movie, even though it only has one movie. Maybe of the cast, there's such a perfect cast. And even though there's a series, Shadowhunters on Netflix, the movie is still bad in my opinion, even though it's different. I would totally choose that over the series, even though the series explores it more, the world, everything. But I think it's because I don't like Clary in the series. I don't like the actress. Even though it's more like the books, I always choose the movie, and I always watch the movie so many times, even though I know it's only one movie, because it's just so good. And it's like my favorite world. I think the Shadowhunters world. Like, there's like fairies, werewolves, vampires, just everything you need, like if you like supernatural things. Also it has warlocks in it and demons. Like, all the stories are true, and like such a creative world I love so much. Like, Cassandra Clare is one of my favorite authors. I also want to read the Infernal Devices because some of the characters gonna appear in there. She has so many books I didn't read. I really love this world. So I know it's a lot, like 6 books, but if you're a book lover like me, go check it out, because I'm telling you, the books are way better than the show. Like, Jace Wayland is such a good character, one of my favorite characters ever in a book series. So it's really totally worth it, guys. So do I want to be a booktuber now? I don't know, because I'm reading a lot, but not like a lot. I always think I'm reading so much, but I know other people who read like so much, like every week they buy new books to do that, so I can't do that. But I kind of really into books nowadays because I have so much free time. I bought so many books still, like recently, but I'm still gonna be like focusing on my TV shows and movies, of course, for you guys. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, comment down below like your favorite books, or even if you like reading books, and what's your favorite book being turned into a movie. Also, don't forget to drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see me again. Don't forget to put on the post notifications so exactly when I upload about every Wednesdays and Saturdays. So see you guys on my next video. Bye!